Hi, this is CJ Ellison, and today we're going to cover how to create an event from your author page and the best ways to interact with readers in events and prior to the event. I'm going to come over here to where I have my other tabs listed. These are other applications that are listed on Facebook. And I'm going to go to my latest event here. Now, I can view past events, and these are all my upcoming events. Over here, I would like to create an event. Let's see what this says over here. Publish event on timeline. Yes, I'd like to do that. We're going to create an event, and I'm going to call this event the Author EMS Training Event. And we're going to say this is open to, oopsie. Okay, open to all class attendees. Where? We're going to have it at this Facebook event page. Tickets, there's no tickets, but if you do want tickets, you could even put something on here for Eventbrite. I know that there are other applications that work with it, but that's a great way to put the link right in. And then there's an option like, let's say you're doing something that would be, I'm not going to say as large as or as well organized as Authors After Dark, but you get the idea. Let's say you're going to do a small local reader event, maybe only 15 people could come, and you put tickets in there. You're also going to make sure when you do this event that you are only showing it locally to the people who could actually attend. Okay, we're going to set up the date, and since this is for July's class, very first class, we're going to have this on the 11th. We're going to add a time. Let's just say 6 p.m. And we're going to do an end time, 9 p.m. Yeah, that sounds fine. Only admins can post to the event wall. I assume some people have a reason for doing something like this. I don't. I want everyone to interact and everyone to chat, so I keep them all open. We're going to create the event. When it launches, you'll see that I can add an event photo up over here. I can promote this event, which I did not see that option when we were trying to do an event in the private group that we have for author training, for the Author EMS training. So that's something to think about too. Every time I do an event for my page, I don't advertise it right away. I spend my advertising dollars of about 10, 15, 20 bucks, whatever my budget is, for the 2 days prior to the event. For several reasons. One, I don't want people to forget about it. And two, I want it to be like if they know they're going to be home and they say, oh, you know, I'm home that night, I can do it. But obviously, if they're going to be at work or they've got some conflicting thing going on, they already know they can't come. So it's not something that's right on their radar. When people plan stuff months in advance, I think you might get a lot of people that say, oh, yeah, I'll go. And then they forget and it's not listed anywhere that they can find out, like with their calendar. Most people don't even know how to check their calendar. All right, so we've added the event. If I want to make adjustments here, I'm going to come back here and hit the little wheel with the drop down arrow, and I am going to edit the event. When I edit the event, this is where I can come back to that first screen and I can put more details in. Okay, I'm not going to edit anything. I'm just going to change it. I'm sorry, close it. And let's see. Remember how I told you in class when you first put an event up, it's going to say join? Even though if you see down here, CJ Ellison, my business page, created this event. That does not mean that CJ Ellison is going to be the one who's commenting on everything. It's going to be looking like it's coming from me. But if I want to invite other people or have it show up on my timeline, I'm going to need to join with my personal profile. Before I do that, I'm going to add upload a photo that I've already done for this. Nope. There we go. Okay. Save changes. I've got the basics here. They understand the timing. And what I normally do is I go and I add the conversions into the event page details. I'll go and say for my UK readers, and I'll add the 5 hours ahead, and I'll put that there. I had one big event for my book in January where I had readers coming from Australia and New Zealand, and they were giving me the days, because it's a day ahead, they were giving me the days and the times that I needed to post in my event details. They were really helpful. Okay. Here, we've got some functions that most people might not be aware of. If you hit page events, it goes right back to where all of the events that I've set up for the page are. I can click here to go back to it. Like I said about joining or maybe, there are also options to share it. You see that there's no invite button right here yet. I can't invite people until I join it. So if I'm going to share it, I can only share it on my timeline, on a friend, so maybe I'm personally inviting them, in a group, or on a page you manage. I'm going to show you how we do it in the group by putting in here the author EMS, author coach training group. Yeah, okay, that's what I called it. My memory's not the best. Forgive me. And we'll say, please go and join the event upon seeing this post. Cheers. Okay. I would like everyone to come and join the event who is going through the training. So you're going to join the event. And once we do, you'll see how this changes. I can invite friends. One interesting feature about inviting friends, now this goes back to the homework that you had on Monday that you were probably all cursing my name out for, about why did I have to sort my 1,000 people into smart lists and friends lists. Here's the reason why. If you're going to be, well, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons, if I'm going to be inviting people, I can actually look at them by lists that I've got. Okay, this is by groups, but I can do up here. This is by list. So I'm going to do show more. And looky, readers. I would do it by readers, and I would invite everyone here. Isn't that cool? You have to click every single person individually, which is a bit of a pain, but I'm grateful that I'm able to do it because previously we couldn't. It was one of the things I wrote to Facebook about. Please, could you add the ability to have smart lists and groups for the invitations? I'm sure I wasn't the only one. I can't possibly think they would be listening to little old me for anything. It's not like they know me. Okay. Something that's really interesting here, I have not tried it yet, but I'm sure it's great, is create a repeat event, which now I'm going to do on all those author reader parties I was doing so I don't have to keep doing the same details over and over again. Messaging guests. Okay, now this is something I want you to think about. Every time you post on here, anyone who's already said that they're coming to the event will see a notification in their notification feed unless they have opted out of receiving notifications. I'm going to see here if I've been invited to anything recently that I can show you an example of. I mentioned before about how you can turn games off in your notification feed. I finally got one here that I can show you. You would click on here and turn off notifications from Farm Heroes Saga. Right, yes. If you're doing the same thing in your news feed, you know, the home feed that we're so used to, you usually have two options. You can either ignore everything from Farm Heroes Saga or ignore everything from the person who invited you. I would prefer to just ignore everything from the app. Okay, now I don't see... Oh, here we go. Tammy Clark Gibbs 3-Day Book Lovers Bash, Virtual eBook Fair, Share, and Excerpt Weekend. I don't know this person. I'm sure she's very nice, so please don't feel offended if you take this class and I've canceled your event out. I just want to show it to people. I can turn off the notifications right here. I won't receive anything else in my notification feed, and that's important because if you do this and you have opted to come to the author training event, you won't receive anything. I want you guys to not turn it off so that you can see what type of notifications you're going to get from the event coordinator, which would be me. That way you can see why we don't want to abuse this. I have accepted an invitation to go to my friends' events, and they've wound up flooding my notification feed with all of their numerous posts before the event, and I've turned them off. I don't tell them about it, so if that happened to you, I'm sorry, but you know, hey, that's life. Okay. Share, like I said before, the same feature as we already had. Share on your timeline. We've covered that. We've covered inviting friends. You can either do it with individually, by certain lists, by groups, by, I don't know what this is. I think these are events that I was going to. Yes, it's got to be what that is. It's an awful lot of them. You see the point here. Okay. All right, I'm also going to include our very first invitations on this, which are going to be to Boone and to Amy Atwell. Your friends will be invited to this event. So I've got right over here, it shows the two people I invited. Now, you like this? You invited her, it'll show you if someone else does it. Let's see, and to also show you some of the functionality on this page. You can add photos, you can ask a question, you can do a post. Everything that you have is going to show up here. And if we go back to my main page, we will see that on my author page, the notice is going to show up right here. I don't want this. I already had somebody who was really nice and already checked on it. I don't want this to be something that's showcased on my page. So I'm going to hide it. I know I talked about that in an earlier class. This doesn't mean that it's not happening. It just means it's not getting real estate on my, it's not getting front page real estate on my page. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go back to past events, and I'm going to show, okay, we're going to go back to a past event right here. And I would like to see how the export feature works. So this is something I haven't done before. Forgive me if it turns out to be useless, and I guess if it does, I'll just delete it from the class. Okay. Send to email. A link to this event has been emailed to cjellison.com. Well, now we know how that works. It's just to export a link to it. And let's see how create a repeat event works. All right, I could just change the dates again. I don't want to do that, so we're just going to cancel. And now we're going to go back to page events and see our new one. And I believe we've covered everything here. One more thing I wanted to cover before we go is when you're setting up an event. I found it's really helpful to have a schedule. On the last one that I did, where I invited a lot of authors, I had everyone assigned a time slot. And I filled out the whole form. This is on Google Drive. This is a document that I can make open to anyone who has the link to be able to edit it. That doesn't necessarily mean the same thing as open to the public, because that means they can't search. No one can search for it and find it. Only if you have the link can you get to it. And what I did was I gave it the link to these authors and asked them to sign up. I had the times filled in. I had all of my spots up here: participating authors, insert your question. Are you posting it or am I? What's your prize? When are you selecting a winner? Who is the winner? Has the winner been contacted? So that I can come back here later on and I can say, if let's say Heather Belden contacts me and says, well, I was told I won something, but I haven't heard from anyone. I can find out that it was Kylie Brandt, and then I can email Kylie and let her know that, okay, Heather contacted me and she hasn't received her gift yet. I would prefer that the authors do all the follow-up when they come to my parties. It just leaves, a lot less on my plate to have to handle. But having this set up really cut down on repetitive questions. The first party I did, I just asked people to stir up and ask a question. And I didn't have anybody assigned to a time. I didn't have anyone where I know what they were asking questions. I found that a lot of my friends forgot they were coming, and I can't blame them. We're all busy with busy lives, so I was frantically scrambling, trying to ask people like, oh my gosh, are you coming? Are you coming tonight? Because I thought you were going to be there and you're not there. And it was more stressful than I'd like. So I think if you're going to do a party where you're going to have some guests, it would be great to have something set up where you know the time that they're supposed to be there and what they're going to post. That way, they aren't stuck at your 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour party for the whole day. They are only there for the time that you've asked them to be there, and you're able to thank them and introduce readers and let them know that you have a special guest coming. It's great for getting their readers involved, because hopefully your friend who's coming to your party would be nice enough to post the information on their page and maybe share it on Twitter or with their followers through a blog or anything else like a newsletter. But even if it's something they do last minute, they can still let it know through social networking, and you might get some pretty good connections that way. Okay, I believe we've covered everything in here about events that I can think of. If I think of something else, I'll make sure that we go over it in the forums or in the downloadable documentation that's with the class. Thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoyed everything that we covered with this condensed Facebook class.